All right. What's up, everyone? Happy weekend. Happy Sunday. Big day ahead. Is football coming home, right? That's the question. Is football coming home, or are the Spanish teams going to once again make everyone frustrated in England and disappointed with another final lost just like 3 years ago against Italy? Yeah, so looking forward for the games, 2 hours until the game. So let's do the stream. It's going to take maybe 1 hour and some. Do it a bit quicker. How was your week, guys? Everyone, did you guys have the positive week? I hope so. Interesting market. It was quite volatile. Some news. The Fed, Jerome Powell spoke in front of Congress for 2 days. Hey, what's up, Miguel? What's up? How are you, man? Yeah, so we had Jerome Powell testimony in front of Congress Tuesday and Wednesday. It was quite volatile, the market in that moment. We had the CPI, which was negative, so it was actually 0.1%. It was the first time, I think, since 2020. So it was quite positive, better than expected, and it's going to be interesting to see what is going to happen next, because what the Fed Powell mentioned during the testimony was that to give confidence to start cutting rates, it will be to see another CPI data being as good as it has been basically the last 2. Therefore, now that it happened, yeah, the odds are for the first rate cut to happen in September. And the big question now is how many rate cuts is going to happen until the end of the year. Is it 1, 2, or even 3, right? At this point, I think the market is pricing in 2 rate cuts until the end of the year. And yeah, this creates big volatility in here, which is interesting. Next week, you're going to have ECB announcing another interest rate. I think the expectation at this point is to remain the same. No one is looking for another rate cut, at least for now. So that's what we are expecting, or the market is expecting at this point on the euro. On the other side, we have an earnings season already started, with some banks announcing their earnings on Friday, the big banks. Basically, yeah, so that's another catalyst that's going to affect the market now that the indices again continue to create new all-time highs. Then there was a big sell-off during the CPI, but meanwhile it's already retesting every bit the highs. We're going to analyze the indices to see what's going to happen in there, or what's the expectation is in terms of should we look for any kind of reversals or not, or should we continue just to see this bullish momentum going on and creating new all-time highs. And then the big one, of course, it was the yen pairs. Like it finally had a big reaction. It's almost like everyone is thinking or I thought that it was another intervention from the Bank of Japan. It was exactly after the CPI, so two interesting timings that the Bank of Japan intervened. The first one, it was 1 month and a half ago or something like that. After a FOMC meeting, just as press conference was finishing, they just decided to basically sell the dollar yen and basically all the yen pairs, and now it was just 5 minutes after the CPI, a really, again, positive CPI that the market was looking for, and apparently that was enough catalyst for the yen pairs also for the Bank of Japan to intervene in there. So that's going to be interesting. Is this the highs on the yen pairs or the won yen index, as we will analyze in a bit? So that's another one. Yeah, the PA was there. It was virtually unfortunate that it was just 1 or 2 minutes after the CPI, which made it hard to trade, unfortunately, because there was some PI that yeah, and that day actually I was looking, already starting to look for the shift, because there was PI across the different yen pairs to give the idea that something like this could happen. Of course, intervention, we never know when it's going to happen in here. Miguel, are you still trading just crypto? Is that what you're looking for? Yeah, so boom, boom. Moving on in here. By the way, just an announcement as well. So I'm going to start streaming every day. So in the evening at around 7:30 p.m. I'm going to start doing a session of basically pre-market analysis around the time that I either do my journaling, kind of my daily report card, or do my analysis for the day ahead. So I'm going to start going live, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever how long it's going to be. But it's going to be basically, the goal is to look for one good setup, one A+ setup for the day ahead across the different assets that I usually look for. So yeah, so there you go. We're going to start going live Monday to Thursday. Of course, Friday there's no point since Saturday market is closed, and then the traditional weekly market analysis on Sunday. So yeah, feel free to join. We can discuss trading opportunities for the day ahead. It's an opportunity as well to stay consistent. It's one of the most important aspects as well. To remain consistent is, aside from journaling, is actually the preparation for the day ahead. Maybe some of you do it in the morning. I don't know. I usually do it more in the evening. I like to kind of already visualize what kind of opportunities I'm expecting for the day, for the next day, especially when you go to sleep and so on, to already kind of visualize what PA I would like to see. Sometimes I get frustrated because the movement happens overnight. So when I wake up, there you go, the move is gone. Some other times, yes, trying to see what I can expect for the one day session, basically. Yeah. So you haven't been following the market. All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, come back, man. Crypto, if you're just looking at crypto, it's an interesting one. Let's see if this is kind of resumed to move to the upside now or not after that big sell-off like in basically June, July. Let's see if now this is a turn in here. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, we'll see. We'll look at crypto in a bit. So yeah, feel free to join me for that sessions on a daily basis. All right, so looking at the market, right? So basically, we were here. I think we were here last week, just before the weekend. So yeah, that was definitely NFP. On Monday, you kind of fake out slightly the low. Again, as you mentioned last week, if you recall, we were still looking for price to continue to move to the downside. There was literally a lot of space for price to go. The way price respected these highs in here, it was it was a complete valid level. Okay, so basically price has been trading within this range for a while. It respected the lows. Again, I do mention that we did manage to break below this small demand zone, even though the overall structure, maybe it was still that one, but that one actually already broke another ones in here. So, which means that as price kind of be moving higher, yes, it could eventually fake out the highs and continue to go higher, but since now it's respecting this level once again and respecting properly, since we had actually all this structure in here, all this creates liquidity for price to either react from here or it would be a little bit higher. Personally, I was looking slightly higher in there. Actually, I would have loved to see this high actually going a little bit more in there and then moving down. It didn't happen. It just kept being within this structure. Yeah, this makes it a bit more of a bearish strength, basically, for the sellers. Okay, a little bit more strength for the sellers at this point as price approaching this level again. This demand zone was fresh, so this is something that we also looked at. However, I think the tendency now is actually maybe for the dollar to continue to push a bit more to the downside. Curious to see eventually what's going to happen as soon as we take these lows. I think we are going to take them, and then eventually can go even below that, and you start looking for price to go slightly lower in here. Yep, I do think that now at this point that's a little bit of more what I'm looking for on the dollar index in here. So yes, we can definitely maybe just take that low. Yeah, I think the tendency is going to be to move slightly lower again. After we take the lows, that's another situation, right? As soon as you take the lows and you get into this new new level. There's maybe enough liquidity a little bit to push price a little bit to the upside. We do have this level now that price can definitely rotate still towards to, and we have also the supply created yesterday, or yeah, that was left behind in there. So yeah, at this point, I do think that price will eventually break these lows. I consider that now these ones are quite weak. We already broke slightly that one. We already broke that one zone as well. And now, yeah, this one already, since we broke already these lows, I'm looking eventually for the dollar now to push lower. And that's what we have been looking for since last week as well. There was a little bit of manipulation in here, faking out some structure. That's totally normal. It's what tends to happen when price is in the middle. Okay, and in the middle, we need to be a little bit wary of where the manipulation or the liquidity is going to be collected before price basically resumes the move to the downside. Okay, it's important first and foremost to have the bias correct, and the bias it will still be to push lower, to push actual price to go a bit more to the downside. Okay, because just shifting the bias, for example, just because you broke some highs, that would be, I would say, kind of incorrect at this point. It's just liquidity being created in here. And yeah, price then eventually just continued to move down with the CPI. It just crashed in here. And now, yeah, at this point, just continue to move slightly more to the downside. And that's the expectation in here at this point on the dollar index. By any chance, if you want to look for any shift, yeah, any shift, price needs to break this highs in here. Okay, maybe price still wants to go all the way back in here, test something in there, but at this point, that's kind of where I would even consider for price to go slightly higher. But then we do have that structure straight away in there. So yeah, we'll see how price is going to open this time. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in there. Moving along, and you can go already jump into this the indices, right? And yeah, this is another good topic that I will make another video to talk about that, which is how to trade all-time highs. I already touched this point or touched this topic a few months ago, I think back in February or something like that, when you're already trading at the all-time highs. Even BTC was about to break all-time highs, or it broke all-time highs around that time. Gold as well was breaking all-time highs, which is an important topic because this year many assets have been trading at the all-time highs. Some have managed to sustain the highs and continue to be bullish. Some others was just a small fake out. Meanwhile, they are already back into the structure and kind of resumed or kind of retraced a little bit, at least in there. The indices, they continue to be at all-time highs, like constantly, if not for a week, at least kind of a week after that, eventually we are creating new all-time highs, and we had a big move in here on the indices this week. Okay, and it was with the CPI, because there you go. The first reaction was quite positive, and that's normal since the CPI actually was good news for the US economy, and mostly for the Fed as well to eventually provide more confidence. That has been the key word that the Fed Chair Powell has been mentioning all the time, is confidence, right? Create confidence for the Fed to cut rates. The CPI was perfect for that, and there you go, right? So that initial spike to the upside is totally normal. Price reacted accordingly to what should be the expectancy. However, there was a big sell-off straight after that, right? There was just basically a fake out, the initial move up, and then the big sell-off. And this is actually one of the key moments to pay attention to, okay? Which is when you have good news and price reacts negatively to it, that's something to start being concerned about or aware of. I still remember the turn back in 2022, okay, when you created this low, it was actually something like that. It was a moment where the CPI was actually quite negative as well on the 13th or 12th of October. And actually price spiked down, but it just reversed completely to the upside in that moment. Okay, so again, this is the opposite, basically a negative CPI that kind of, it should mean that most likely price would resume or continue the bearish move that we had during 2022, but all of a sudden actually that was created the low in this point. Okay, price actually finished positive for that day. So in here it was a little bit similar. However, while on this situation in here, and this is where it matters to start paying attention a little bit to the PA and so on, is that we didn't still have any, where we are now, we still don't have any proper high to create liquidity. Okay, so in this particular case in here, I'm not saying that now it's going to be the all-time highs being created, but just to compare a little bit in terms of in here, you already have one specific low that looks like quite a strong low, kind of a strong demand zone, that price actually managed to go higher and start breaking some structure in here. Therefore, then we have now a low that can be used to use for liquidity. We also have a little bit of that one. And aside from that, and this is the advantage when you are not trading all-time highs and you have actually data on the left side, we are actually reacting, or were reacting exactly from a good level in there, which is basically the end of this compression in here. This is something that we covered when it happened. That was a prediction actually that we had in here. We had all this compression already predicted for a long time. Nevertheless, this is something that that needs to happen in here, in my opinion, before even have all-time high created, which is exactly this. Like, we need to create a range, and this is something to be also that you can use this information, okay? And you can use it in different ways, okay? First and foremost is to not have FOMO in this situation, okay? So don't have FOMO. As soon as you see maybe a big turn in here, don't have FOMO that you just missed the move, okay? There is a high probability that price actually is still going to retrace closer to this level, or more often than not, it's actually going to use this high as the liquidity to maybe then make the final move to the downside. And it's quite natural to see many people starting having FOMO as soon as there is this move, and maybe price breaks term structure, maybe to actually start selling as soon as we break, as a breakout setup, or then going to continue to look for sales as price is slowly retracing to these highs in here. Okay, so first and foremost, don't have FOMO straight away. There is a high probability that price will still retest this level in there, and then use this level now to create actually maybe the high that may be eventually the all-time high, or kind of the new high being created with a bigger move to the downside in there. Okay, and this is actually something that I will mention a little bit in a bit on the dollar yen, and that's why maybe I already think that this dollar yen high may be actually the top for now. Okay, and not the previous one. The previous one that was basically created 2 months ago or something like that, whenever it was that initial intervention in there. So this is the S&P. Again, something else that we could see as well was the PI. Like, we started to create a little bit of PI, a little bit of a high in here, but there you go, the fake out. And what happened in here as well is that we managed to break these lows, right? So this was an important structure in there that price broke basically in here. Okay, so we had a little bit of this structure, and just before the move, again, I think this was now with was it PPI yesterday? There you go, a spike down, which basically breaks structure, and then strong move to the upside, fake outs the level, and now I'm really interested to look for a potential sell. Okay, now we have a little bit of more structure in here of manipulation. We already have a break of a low, a break of structure in here, even though maybe the reaction was quite good into this demand zone. Nevertheless, is already a break of this structure, and now we have a fake out in there. Okay, so now I'm going to be curious to see how price may react even underneath this level, or just one last spike in here, and I think we can go all the way. Okay, so we'll see. Again, this move down was quite aggressive already. I think price may most likely going to react from there, and now also is to see if this low by any chance respects this demand zone. Like, if by any chance price comes back to this level and now starts moving upwards again, yeah, most likely maybe new high can be created. If there is a little bit of space being created from here to here, then price most likely can fill that level. And if by any chance price comes back in here, breaks again this level, and now retraces to this level, then that's a good level as well to sell it one more time. That's basically a little bit of what I'll be looking for in here on the S&P. Okay, so that's something to pay attention to. Again, the reaction was quite good already from that level on Friday in here, but yes, there is the supply. There's maybe a little bit of a structure in there that we can look for in here. On the other side, S&P, not S&P, NASDAQ was slightly different, okay? NASDAQ actually started to produce slightly a reversal PI before this move, so NASDAQ hasn't really picked out this high in here, okay? So that's slightly different. As you can see, NASDAQ actually already started to create slightly the more PI, I think, to the downside somewhere in there. So we fake out, so there's this still level in here to eventually look for in here. And also, I think NASDAQ had created a few lows in here already, breaking some structure, a really interesting level of compression. It also broke below, okay, similar to the S&P, it also broke below this low. in here. So it started to give indication that it wants to go, that it wants to move to the downside, or starts to want to shift a little bit in here. Now question mark is, again, eventually we can expect some reaction or some approach closer to that level. Again, this high, it reacted from basically this previous level of this basically decision point that was created in here with this manipulation to go to the upside. Price ignored it on the way down, so it's usually a good level to expect some reaction from, but we do have the extreme in there. And if you by any chance, once again, if you do fake out this high, I wouldn't be surprised in here. But NASDAQ, I do believe when I did the analysis, there was already a little bit of more PA to the downside even before that move, so it's not as bad in there. But there you go. Okay, so S&P basically already fake out this level. NASDAQ, it hasn't. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen somewhere in there as well. But overall, we start having slightly better PA to the downside comparing with where we were a few weeks ago or 1 week ago. So this is something that we need to be paying attention at this point on the indices. Again, any data, it's going to be important, and also the earnings season that just started is going to be also a good catalyst to see what we can expect eventually in here on the NQ and S&P and so on. Dow actually broke the highs. Okay, it's going to be quite interesting as well. No surprise in that sense. We had this high, respected the demand zone. We created a slightly new high, it respected the next demand zone, therefore, and you had all this compression here, again, respected the demand zone, spike, and then eventually start moving to the upside. So no surprise, as price keeps respecting the origins in here of the move from the lows, eventually there's high probability then maybe we can expect new highs to happen in there. So it's going to be interesting. Now we have this level in there, maybe to pay attention at this point, to see how price may react from the structure in here. If you do break it, then maybe can start turning around to the downside again and looking for some reaction here from these left shoulders at around this level in here is something to pay attention, of course, just to see how price may react. If price just keeps respecting this level and continues to go higher, then eventually you need to start looking for some kind of PA that eventually can lead into a turn in here. But it's interesting that NASDAQ and S&P actually were starting to show a little bit more of a bearish move, while Dow is actually moving quite aggressively to the upside, and also the Russell 2000, okay, the basically small cap indices, is actually breaking to the upside. Okay, so it's actually showing more bullishness in here. It's basically kind of shifting from high market cap to small market cap at this point in terms of bullish momentum. Which is going to be interesting. Okay, it's going to be interesting for the next couple of, again, days, weeks, to see what's going to happen. It managed to break above this structure as well, so we'll see what's going to happen around this structure in there. And then we have DAX, right? So DAX basically also resuming the move to the upside, end up respecting that level, and then keep respecting the levels again. And there you go, we are back at the highs. I'm actually curious still to see how price may react around this level. Okay, I'm expecting price actually to still break above this high and eventually react around here. Okay, even though this left shoulder basically was already respected in here, there's maybe still this supply level, and then there's maybe still the extreme of the extreme. But again, we are getting closer to all-time highs, so respecting the extreme of the extreme, there's always a tendency that price actually can eventually create new highs just before moving down. And once again, as I mentioned, price actually respected a valid demand zone from this move to the upside in here. Therefore, we can eventually maybe create new highs even before moving again to the downside. Nevertheless, on a lower time frame, there's maybe still something in here that price can use just above this highs in there. So that's nice to look for in terms of some reaction. And then the next target, of course, it will be something in here. Okay, so any retracement in here, this can be actually a good sell opportunity as long as there's maybe still space in here for price to go towards to, because from here price can just resume to move to the upside. Is it not an extended triangle on the Dow Jones? Yeah, maybe. How do you draw that? Something like this. I don't even know how to draw ascending triangles. Is something like this, Miguel? Which means kind of break and expecting to go higher. Is that the theory behind this? I don't even know the theory behind this traditional patterns. Higher low. Is this a higher low? Yeah, but is it considering this highs in here, kind of something like that? Is this a triangle? I think the ascending could be something like that, right? Yeah, man. Like when someone asks me such a basic question about those patterns, I don't even know what to answer. This is kind of an ascending channel, right? I think. Whatever. But you do have maybe some structure in here. Now we do have liquidity around this size, that's for sure. And at this point, this level needs to either hold or break. So it's just as simple as that. This level in here, this demand zone, basically needs to hold price. If it breaks it, then you start looking at something different. We already broke slight with this demand zone. Basically, we already created this demand zone in here in which in alignment with the break of that high. So that's something. At this point, there's maybe a high probability that price will test first this level before breaking that level. So maybe there's a setup in here that we could look for. But as soon as it respects this level, there's a high probability the price may just wants to go higher. Okay, so by any chance, if this one wants to come here first and then there, maybe there's a sell opportunity to look for in here. So that's a little bit of the thought process. But now actually zooming in here, we can see that actually the demand zone is not actually just in here, is actually in here, which is already been reacted from in there, right? Because now everything is compressed in here a little bit. There's maybe this one as well, but this one is already actually the level. And that's why as soon as we go into lower time frames, you can see a little bit more in detail where actually the key level is. And this actually this one in here. And then if price actually breaks it below that level, maybe this one is still a bit fresh, but then below this, everything is compressed and you're looking for price to get closer to that zone in there. All right. Yeah, send me. Yeah, so DAX, yeah, reacting from that level as well. So not, yeah, just curious to see how price may react from basically from this demand zone in here at this point. And then yes, we do have that other one in there. What's next? Yeah, let's check crypto. Let's check crypto. Again, crypto total market in here actually reacted from the demand zone. Bitcoin almost touched it. I would prefer actually if Bitcoin would create a slightly new log and fake out this structure, I think it would be the ideal, but it started to respect this log and the kind of a double bottom in here, and meanwhile it's starting to move to the upside. Curious to see how price may eventually react from this level in here. But it's holding. It's a different type of a move. It's actually holding the lows, so that can be something to be aware of at this point. Good structure in there as well. So we fake out basically a little bit of the structure. Good structure in here with price respecting it. So that's an important low at this point. If price benches breaks below this low, it can almost basically retest something in here. As long as price basically now respects above this level, or this level holds price basically, yeah, we can maybe look for a move a bit more to the upside. There was a little bit of this super level. Price basically react from the lower edge in there. And yeah, at this point, basically can go retest this level in there. Yep. So yep, you can basically trade between this range in here, and bear in mind that we do have this structure in there basically. Yeah, something in there. I'm counting with this low as well in here. Yeah, so we'll see with BTC if it's going to continue to go higher or not. in here. All right, Ethereum, same thing. Right, so it managed to respect. It kind of actually took the wall, but it was that important level of support resistance. Meanwhile, it went to the upside, or maybe again this is not the ideal level to look for trades. This was a good level to catch this move to downside, and looking for price to get slightly higher, somewhere in here. Again, there's maybe this level, there's a little bit of this previous one in there, and then you have those highs as well. There is a strong compression here on Ethereum, slightly even more compressed than BTC. The way price is moving to the upside, which means that eventually when it turns, it can happen quite quickly. There's a level in here left behind. Price missed that zone in there, so that can be spiked and price can push higher, where the key level in here at this point, in my opinion, is this one in here that managed to hold price to the upside. There's again still that level left behind in here. This one never touched it, so that's one of the key levels. Below that, similar to BTC, if it breaks somewhere in there, it can basically go all the way to retest this level in there. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in there. Yeah, Miguel, just check your Discord image. Yeah, it's exactly that, right? Yeah, that's the triangle that you mentioned. And how would you trade that? Like waiting for the retest of the previous highs, becoming a support level and push to the upside? Is that how you would trade it? Solana, once again, still respecting the demand. Fair enough, and now back at the supply again. Okay, so still remaining within this structure in here. This demand zone starts to be weaker and weaker and weaker. Many touches already created within that. So we'll see what's going to happen, and eventually could resume the move to the upside. To the downside. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. The PA is not bad actually. We're starting to create a little bit of liquidity in here. Again, compression, we do have this demand zone in alignment with this previous level support resistance as well, so price can easily just maybe retest this level and push to the upside in here within this structure. Otherwise, again, similar kind of, if you start breaking below that, we can actually then move more to the downside in there. Yeah, so let's see how price may react around this supply level. In here, if you do actually break above that, it can open the door for price to start moving much higher. And again, that could be then a different scenario. Like it would just shift completely the move in here. Price may even left this level behind, just goes higher a little bit, then breaks the highs in here, and now can go down back out at level with kind of respect now this level, and then push to the upside, kind of as a continuation setup. This demand zone can be quite interesting, even better if you already break that high to provide bias that price actually wants to go higher in there. So yeah, that's basically what we have with those guys. And then moving into the Euro Index, like, so this was another one that we've been looking for. Basically, we are in a zone 3 type of a move on the Euro Index. Zone 3 type of a move is when you start having this compression getting closer to a potential level that we can eventually have a big retracement or a shift in the trend in here. So basically this is zone 1, this is zone 2, eventually get the momentum, and now we start this compression in here. Okay, again, this is going to be another video that I'm going to make to explain the 4 different phases, which can help you also to manage the expectations and to know what kind of setups you should be expecting in the different phases of the market, depending on, regardless of what kind of trader you are, either a momentum trader, counter trend trader, more of a scalper, when to look for bigger trades or not, kind of bigger targets in this case, or not. But this was something that we were looking for. Again, the compression was quite clear in here. Basically, above this high on the Euro Index, there was a clear compression all the way in here, that basically as soon as we break above this high, everything is compressed all the way until the other extreme. Is basically almost this high or that high. So this is literally one of the last supplies within that levels, basically the extreme of the compression. So when you have compressions, basically you are looking for price to go from the lower extreme, in this case, all the way to the upper extreme. And then if it breaks compression or not, that's a different question. But at least that move all the way to the extreme of the other compression. We're expecting price to do that, and that's basically what happened in here for now. So good reaction in there after such a compression in here. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. There's maybe still a little bit of this demand zone as well in there, but we are starting to compress as well on the way up, which means that eventually we could have a move to downside as well. In my opinion, I think this is the low that made this move upwards. Therefore, breaking this low, that actually would be a bit of the clue that maybe price wants to go even a bit more to the downside. We do have this break in here, which we never really managed to fill this gap created in here with one of those French elections. So yeah, we'll see on the euro again, the same way that maybe the dollar wants to continue to move slightly lower, maybe this euro index wants to go slightly higher. It's going to be one of the most important pairs to look at on Thursday, like when you have the ECB press conference. So there you go. On Wednesday in the evening, we are going to try to look the best opportunities on the euro pairs to try to take advantage from, if price by any chance is at a good level. If not, I'm not going to force any trades if price is not at a valid level with good PI to give us a proper direction in there. At this point, I still like the idea of eventually this supply at the extreme. It's kind of a little bit of a fresh level that's in there. Otherwise, price may just move to the upside. Now, we did manage to break below these lows, and question mark if actually this low is reacting from a valid level in here or not. Maybe just reacting from the upper edge of that level. My favorite would have been somewhere in here. So, which means that maybe there's a little bit of space still be expected to be filled, which means that therefore we could potentially look for any kind of sell opportunity in here. Either we fake out this high first, or maybe we can even go slightly higher, which now we can look at the bigger picture to see where actually we are reacting from. And yes, we have this high, which is basically reacting from that high, and we have actually the other level above that is still fresh in there. So that's going to be an interesting one to see if the euro index actually wants to turn from here or not. What we have as well is this interesting high as well, just the same way that I just mentioned on the S&P. This high can actually work out as the high to be faked out. Instead of actually price still being respected below this supply level, you can actually go there slowly in the compression way. Slowly goes like this, and all of a sudden it looks like it's working, and you have that just move like that. Okay, that could be interesting, and that's something that I'll be paying attention in there on the euro index. And then of course we'll take a look at the euro pairs to see what kind of opportunities we have. And then the yen, right? So what can you say? What can we say about this level? Okay, one of the things is if you don't believe that price navigates between, it likes also to react from support resistance and so on. Look at that. Like, so the initial reaction after this big move to the upside on Thursday, it was exactly to react from the support resistance in there. Okay, so there you go. So we need to understand where usually price tends to go and react from. Aside from that, and I did mention, like I actually shared, I think on Twitter a few days ago, like 1 week ago or something like that, that we were having way too many negative days in here. Basically bearish candles on the yen index and bullish candles on the pound yen, euro yen, even dollar yen, like across the yen pairs. Like it was many, like 13 candles, 14 candles, basically 95% of those candles were either bullish or bearish. Okay, and when I share that's when you actually started to range a little bit. Okay, we started actually to create a little bit of PI. We did mention there were a few lows, a few highs already being broken in there, and there was a high probability that price will still fake out this level in there. And then it happened. Like it happened for a day, 2 days, and this is when you actually starting to look for a turn, and that was on Thursday in here. Okay, so we actually had, now this big candle just destroys completely the scale of what we're looking in here. But this is what we start having, like, so this is actually a nice double bottom created overnight, if not mistaken. We have that break, we have the fake out and price start to move. There was actually a small gap in there that these lows didn't touch in there, and actually just before the move to the upside with the CPI, it just went higher, right? Again, trading the CPI, it will be, it's always risky, unfortunately, and a few minutes after the CPI, there you go, the move happened. Like, it didn't really create the best chance in there to try to look for the trade. What can I expect now, right? So again, this is a really nice fake out, okay, in here. So we had that double top being respected. We have this demand zone, which price actually respected, then went higher, and you have this fake out of this low in there, and since then price just start to move higher, and I think that maybe price can now resume more to the upside. I do believe that euro, basically the yen index, can navigate more to the upside in here. It's going to be interesting. And say, I'm reading what you're saying. I can't wait for price to touch the bottom trend line. Are you still talking about the Dow Jones or something else? Yeah, that's what I guess, Mike. So that ascending triangle, usually when it breaks to the upside, it should mean momentum. So we'll see if that's going to happen or not, right? Because when you do have actually that triangle, initially can be a zone of a level for a fake out, especially if we have kind of a double top being created. Basically, we're talking about this level in here, since we have a little bit of liquidity being created at around this structure in here. So that can be a little bit of a level. So this is the key level in here for me. If price breaks and continues to move to the upside, congrats. I mean, like, perfect, and price will just move to the upside. If price starts breaking below this level, then everything changes in here. So basically, yeah, after that, everything's going to change in there. Yeah, let's back at the yen index. So the initial level was respected, which was this previous level of that low, basically previous support, maybe working as resistance. There was also a fresh level in there of supply, and above that, as you can see, most of it has been already compressed. Next level to look for, it's maybe something in here, and then you start looking for price to potentially feel that range. But yeah, as soon as you break above this level, it's already a big spike in here, basically collect all the orders in there, and yeah, naturally just starting to look for price to go slightly higher, as you can see on the way down. And this is the risk sometimes when you have compressions, right? Is that when price then turns, there's nothing much that's going to be here to hold price down. There's nothing much there that is going to be able to hold these yen pairs in here. As you can see, basically every single week is already reacting from a previous kind of open candle. So that makes it super compressed. Again, that level was good in there. Price reacted from it. But yeah, now, yeah, it's something to. We'll see what's going to happen. On the other side, yeah, price basically respect a little bit at 1 second, checking world time frame. Yeah, world time frame price already spiked down. Like I was about to mention that it looked like on this time frame that maybe price hasn't really reacted from something in here, but in reality, and when you go into the world time frame, you already can see a spike of a candle in there, right? There's already this retrace into that previous level, which doesn't really make it, or doesn't really create the need for price to go there again. Okay, basically price already respected this level in here with this candle that created in here, therefore then starts moving higher. So there is no need to retrace back to this level. It's already enough. This is already enough manipulation now with this low. So we'll see what's going to happen. You do have this demand zone. Well, now for me personally, it's going to be a wait and see on the yen index, on the yen pairs. Okay, I've been looking for the reversal all this time. Now that it happened, the move, now it's just wait and see until we are going to realize, just basically see what's going to happen from here. It either creates momentum to go up, or by any chance, eventually retests in there. something to be just aware in term on the end pairs, right? We are still waiting for the Bank of Japan to act. I think the market is pricing in a potential increase on interest rate in the next meeting. I think it's going to be July or end of July. So that's something that they are looking for. So that could support as well maybe this shift of the trends. If not, maybe then just going to continue to look for another push down in there. All right, now jumping into the individual currency pairs. Yeah, on the Dow Jones. Yeah, I got it, Miguel. Yeah, so euro dollar. Same thing with the dollar index, right? So we started to respect that level again. This was a fake out that I was looking slightly deeper. I was looking slightly deeper into here. Price just fake out it like by a fraction of a pip or something like that. But into that was enough. Nevertheless, we were looking for price to move to the upside. Okay, so we are in this middle, and we noticed that there was this high, kind of there was that supply in there. There was also that level in there, but the tendency at this point it will be more to the upside, and that's why we're also looking for dollar index to move to the downside in here. This high for me doesn't really mean much. It never did. I think price still wants to continue to move higher, and we do have this structure as well, which in my opinion they are a little bit in the middle. Eventually price can even go there, but before that maybe there's a little bit of some structure in here that price could react from. So next thing to look at is pay attention when price eventually fakes out this level. Now, there is something in here, right? There is maybe fresh level still at this highs, and there is exactly in here, which maybe can actually extend that to the right side in there. Yeah, so there is that level. Basically, this high never really reacted from it. So if price by any chance still wants to respect something in there and move a little bit to the downside, it can. Personally, there you go. Price actually is reacting from there at this point, but I'm not really expecting this highs to hold. Even in here, price managed to hold all this structure in here. If it move a little bit to downside, you do have a few other levels that price can still respect. Nice fake out in here, and yeah, the tendency at this point it will be for the euro dollar to move slightly higher. That could go in alignment with euro index also moving higher and the dollar index moving lower. As soon as you fake out this level, maybe there's something in here that price could react from until eventually resumes to move to the upside. I'm still expecting, even if fake out again, there can be some reaction, especially after fake out this level. Price could move a little bit down. For example, could even go into this demand zone. I think it was with the creation with the CPI. So fake out this structure, get into here, and maybe resume to move to the upside. That could happen. But yeah, at this point, it's a bit more bullish on the euro, and let's see where, again, big question mark is where are going to be by Thursday before the ECB. So that's going to be an interesting one to see. Pound dollar, yeah, just resumed to move to the upside as well. Again, you have been bullish in here, so it's just continue. Target, it was this high. To fake out this high, there's actually a beautiful supply level in here that you're going to be looking for. And there's actually a really nice supply level in here just above this high. So let's wait for price to fake out that high and expect some kind of reaction around this level. It may not be a massive reaction, but there could be some, I'm expecting some at least some reaction from around this level, and then we go jump into this next structure in here. Then everything is compressed a little bit in here, and price can start navigating a bit more closer to this level in there. Yeah, something in there, for example, could be interesting. Yep, still have data. Yeah, something in here, for example, this is a nice decision point that led price to break this these lows in here. Yeah, so price can actually fake out all the structure around this level. But yeah, initially we could have some reaction. Again, it's supply level just above a high that never reacted from it. So that usually tends to have something in there. Again, it's 17 pips. Yeah, 17 pips looks like a nice distance. And then all of a sudden you can start looking for price to go even higher in there. So yeah, interesting. Again, I'm not expecting that high to hold price for that long. Momentum to the upside, again, that has been basically quite expected. Let's just say it like that on the on the pound dollar, which starts making quite bullish as well. Like, so all of a sudden you start having, okay, at least 3 days in a row in here, weekly basis, basically 2 big weekly candles. And yeah, eventually can navigate a bit towards there. Then you can have a little bit of a reaction before maybe moving to the upside once again. Like that can be another clue for that can help you with your edge. Sometimes when you're looking for reversals, sometimes just look for extension, either to the upside or to the downside. Like if you do have just on the end pairs, like 13 days in a row, something like that, just bullish, eventually is going to have some reaction. Euro pound, that's another one which is going to be quite interesting. So it respected that level, basically closed the gap in there. We created a little bit of this structure, and we are looking for price to break below that low, and not even that low, but also below this low to get into something in here. Okay, so I'm even looking for the euro pound to fake out that low as well, and there's maybe this demand zone in there that price can eventually go towards to, or even better, again, I'm expecting some reaction from here first. But then I'm actually expecting euro pound to also take this low in here, and this is actually the demand zone that I'm going to be looking for in here. It's a massive level. It's a zone that has been respected many times in the past, as you can see, and you have actually beautiful PA in here. Okay, so we have a kind of left shoulder, we have fake out, we have another left shoulder in here. Price went up, actually broke structure, and it created this beautiful demand in here. Okay, so that's actually a beautiful level. As long as maybe this is still fresh and there's no spikes in there, that makes it quite interesting, and that's something that we can definitely look in here. Okay, so that level, it's actually kind of maybe already spiked in here. We do have this demand zone in there slightly higher. So that actually becomes a really interesting level to look for in here. Then below that, it's a bit compressed in here. Yeah, that's another one to look for. But first, just wait for price to fake out this level, maybe something into here. Have some reaction again. That can also help to predict when the pound dollar may have a little bit of rest before continuing to move to the upside. Again, as you can see, pound dollar has been moving quite bullish, and the euro pound has been doing the opposite, which is again normal in here. So that can also be a clue when to expect that. But that's definitely a level that I'll be looking for also this week in here. Then we jump into Aussie. Again, Aussie just resumes the move to the upside. That's something else that we were looking for. As soon as price breaks this level, it's another compression PI that happened in here. Everything was compressed. So as soon as it breaks above it, as it happened, the expectation is for price to fill that range and start looking for price to go slightly higher. So as soon as it filled the compression, it reacted a little bit from this level, and it went down. Respected now this level, and the expectation now at this point is actually to continue to see this Aussie dollar to go slightly higher. There's still this level that is fresh, so eventually this Aussie dollar could have a little bit of a deep retracement, go below these lows, react from this demand zone, and push to the upside. Okay, again, at that point, it's going to depend where the high actually is reacting from in here. So that's a level to pay attention to. Everything in here is almost compressed at this point. Price is moving upwards, but it's always retracing every single time to collect the demand zone that is left behind. It happened as well in here. Okay, so we collected, it goes. You can see basically every single demand has been collected already, which again, it's another compression that eventually when you do turn, that can be quite interesting. At this point, waiting for this high then to be taken before maybe a move to the downside in here. The other Aussie pairs basically is doing the same. Euro Aussie, pound Aussie, not really moving that much. And now we get into the yen pairs. Okay, so let's take a look at the yen pairs. All right, so we analyze them, right? So a few weeks ago, I think actually it was on the 26th of June, we analyzed the yen pairs on the left side. Right, so we paid attention to where should we expecting these yen pairs to react from. And yeah, we can maybe take a look at that. Like some of them yeah, 1 second, let's just bring that back up in here. Like, so let's just take a look into it. Starting with the Aussie yen in here, right? So that was the first one. And there you go. We fake out those highs and we reacted from the extreme of this level. Personally, I would still like to see price going slightly there, but we did have this level still in here. And that's basically where price ended up reacting. Price fake out this high and actually reacted from basically that supply in there that maybe this high actually missed in here. Again, I cannot go below the daily. That's the time frame that the worst time frame I can go in here. But that was one of the first levels in there. After that, there you go. After that, the rest is history. The compression was perfect. We already had a break below it and the compression was perfect. So this is actually one of the pairs that I actually really wanted to trade short, because it was one of the best ones in terms of PA. Euro yen, it was not that great, but Aussie yen actually it was. But this move was with the CPI. It was like still 1-2 minutes within the CPI. I was looking actually slightly higher. There were two levels in here. One of them was this one, and the other one was even the highs that were left behind. But yeah, that was with the CPI. Again, there was no chance that I was expecting this to happen. Otherwise, I wouldn't care which one to go. I'll just jump into it. Yeah, I was looking slightly higher. I was waiting as well for price to stabilize a little bit more. But then again, it was unexpected. The second move in there. But it's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful how the compression was created and the move. It was just. Yeah, it was literally a big sell off from there. Can go into the next ones. Yep, we can navigate into the next ones. This is a beautiful level. Okay, on the dollar yen, that was already a level that we saw before. So the reaction was a fresh supply. So that's a level that we had. There you go. So this high didn't react from this high in here, never reacted from the supply level. And the supply was in there. Okay, maybe on the weekly it's slightly visible, better visible, easier to see. Yeah, so that was the supply level that we looked for. We have that level identified for like 3 or 4 weeks by now, which was above this high. Just fake out into that. It was fresh. It was perfect. There was then another one just slightly above it. It would be under test of that level. But for now, price apparently it was enough, and it was a great level. It was a great level in there on the dollar yen, and then the continuation of the setup, right? Because what we have, or what we had already in here, is basically price had already created this structure, and look at that. It's the same, exactly the same situation in here. We have this high, and we have that supply. 1 second. Right, so we have this high and we have this supply in here, and then again this high just reacted basically from this left shoulder in there, but it never reacted from the supply in there, right? And then you have actually another one above it, but this one was there, was fresh, and that's basically where eventually price end up going and reacting from in here on the left side. And then again, it's another one where we have a strong compression on the way up. Right, and then I got another compression in there, and the rest is history. I could start breaking some lows in there, and the rest is basically history. And now we are looking for price to navigate more to the downside in here. And this is a difference what I wanted to mention before, comparing with the S&P or the indices, and now the dollar. It's the GPI and the yen, right? So we have this left shoulder in here. Right, this can be a quite important left shoulder that can be used eventually for price to eventually retest there, respect it, and move to downside. So we have an important high that could have attracted many sells in there, and we have the head already, and it starts looking good for a potential bigger reversal now from here. A lot of this has been compressed. There's maybe some reaction there, whatever it may be, but at this point, yeah, is price reacting already from here? Yeah, it is reacting already from this fresh demand zone. That level in here, it was basically the beginning of that level, so that's good. Yeah, then next part is, are you going to have any kind of protest a bit closer to this level? That's the question mark, and this one is a good left shoulder in there with this structure, so that's going to be interesting. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise price may just go slightly higher in here. So that was another one in here. Again, more spikes in here, whatever. Now the end is going to start moving quite erratic. I don't expect anything else different. And then you can look also at our euro yen. Right, so that's another one. Like, so similar, we had that supply in there, so it was marked, price fake out basically that level, and it's still respected from here. Then we had the other one above it, but it was still within this level, and after faking out that high in here. Okay, so basically fake out that high into that level, and there you go. This one was a little bit different in terms of opportunity because basically the high was created with the news. Okay, that was slightly harder to trade in this case, completely different from the Aussie yen setup, for example. In here, the high in this case was literally created like 5-10 minutes just before the CPI. And then we have the GBP GPI. This was perfect as well. This was another level that we had. It reacted from the one level of support resistance in here. Yeah, it was this one in there. Right, so we've been looking all this time for price to get slightly higher. It can even go higher. Personally, I can even see it going somewhere closer to this level in there. But before that, we had this structure, and there were two levels in here that I was looking for. First and foremost, it was the reaction towards this level. I had that level as well in here. Yeah, and that level, like basically these two zones in here, two levels that I'll be looking for, expecting the yen index to not yen index, the pound yen to react from, and it reacted. Right, so now we'll see if it's going to continue. Again, different from this scenario is that the pound is quite strong, it's quite bullish. So what, for example, the other ones already slightly broke below this lows. Pound yen is still kind of holding it a little bit. As soon as the pound turns, expecting this pound yen also to continue to move even more to the downside in there. Yeah, but interesting enough in here. Again, you do have that structure, a small fake out in there. Again, this is more mid-range, and yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. Somewhere in here at this point, yeah, not going to really be involved in here. Yeah, that's basically the end pairs that we had. Basically, I went through them on the other chart. It's basically all the same in here. Another one, actually, this was actually quite beautiful, which was the CAD yen. CAD yen we have been mentioning as well, expecting price to get closer to this top, and in this case actually created a much better PA. But again, the entry in there, it was it was with the CPI. It was actually, we have already the structure. It's a little bit more kind of the PA to short. It was more kind of obvious in this particular case. We have already the structure, already breaks off walls. We have a clear fake out. We have a good turn in here, and just that retest of that left shoulder in here just before the sell off. Right, this is actually a great pattern that happened in here on the CAD yen, and then it just filled completely the compression. Like, it's incredible how price then just filled the compression completely all the way there. Like, everything in here has been compressed, basically took one of the last months in there, more compression, and then immediately fill out that range. That's a great setup. At this point, maybe some reaction in here, and then eventually can continue to move lower, and yeah, either in there or in here, basically go all the way towards that low or eventually towards there. It's something to be looking for. And at the highs, yeah, we'll see at the highs if price by any chance wants to go there. But as you can see, it's a bit more bearish, for example, comparing with the pound yen. All right, so that's basically for the end pairs, and something just to keep an eye on at this point and waiting. The CAD pairs actually are going to be something that I'll be looking for. Not exactly this dollar CAD. I still don't really like it at this point. I'm still looking for price to go slightly lower. It fake out slightly that low, and it went back into this range. I still don't like it. I don't really see anything in here. You can trade it on the 1 time frame. Maybe you can try to trade between these ranges in here. I'm not really interested on that. Maybe some reaction from here could happen as well. I'm looking more for price to get maybe closer to this demand zone in here, or a bit more to the downside. So the dollar CAD, the CAD pairs actually that I'm going to be looking for, it's a bit more of the euro CAD and the pound CAD, which they have been following what the euro and the pound has been doing, at least yesterday, with another momentum to the upside. So we have euro CAD making this move upwards. Actually, this was a pair that I was looking on Friday, look for a reversal, but it never really happened. So again, price just filled out this range. So that was something that I was looking for price to get closer to this level, and in here starting to potentially look for some reaction. Price reacted a little bit, but it was still not the moment, in my opinion, to look for a short. I didn't really see the PA in there. This is where in the past I would kind of get kind of 1 or 2 trades, either break even or almost stopped out. Basically, it will be more of a loss, just because I'll be patient and actually look for the sales when actual price was just filling a space that is in there, need clear. Price broke the highs, kind of there was now a new compression in there, and I'm looking more actually for euro CAD to get towards this level. Now be aware that we actually respected this low, so price may actually still continue to move upwards. We respected the lower edge of that level. As soon as we take this high, we can actually just fill out this range again and go towards there. But before that, I think there's maybe something in here that I'll be looking for. Okay, and again on the day, you can see it has been quite bullish in here, and I'm looking for price to eventually have some retracement in here. I like the compression as well, so this is something that I pay attention to. I do like this compression. Just let it get a bit more weaker until I have maybe a turn in there, and price maybe just retest this level before moving to the upside again. But this is a little bit of the approach as a counter trend trader. You need patience. You need just to wait for price to show you the weakness all along. It was Friday as well. It was eventually not the best time to look for a sell. So hopefully on Monday, whenever price opens over tonight or on tomorrow, it's at a good level to potentially look for a short, and the short hasn't happened without me. And that's basically my wish stop at this point. Let it price getting a bit more closer to something in here to look for a trade in there. We can actually go all the way towards this extreme. Basically, price may have already reacted from it. Can I have 1 minute? Yes, I do have 1 minute in there. In reality, as you can see, this was this NF? Yeah, this must have been NFP maybe. As you can see, price went down, and this is the extreme in there, right? So that's actually a level that we need to pay attention to, at least on 1 minute. We're looking at the charts, the story may be different, but that's actually a level to pay attention. So when price breaks a level, you need to pay attention to where is the deepest retest that was created after that. That's actually the range that you're going to pay attention to in there. So yeah, that's definitely something to pay attention. Looking for some kind of PI, eventually price to break some lows, and then eventually to create that pattern, which can go in alignment with euro dollar. For example, euro dollar can also provide that setup, euro index as well. So basically a little bit of what we have in here. And pound CAD is it's the same thing. Okay, so that was another one that I was following. In here, it just continues to push to the upside. Basically respected whatever it was in here. Didn't really like the way price created all these lows, and respected the upper edge of that when it broke, and it continued to push higher. And there you go. Like, so we had already basically reacted from here, and now we are getting closer to this level. And I do like actually that demand zone in here. Let me just bring it in here. So I do like actually this demand zone, maybe that one as well. So that's something that I'll be looking for on a weekly time frame. It does look nice. We do have also a lot of basically left previous left shoulders in here. Even that high already fake out some of them. So that looks nice, and I think that could be at least a level to have some kind of reaction from around this level, or then above that level in there. Okay, so maybe basically price can fake out slightly that high. I don't know how much lower can I go in here. Yeah, then eventually you can even go there. That's also nice. That's actually really nice. Price created a high and then tried to go higher, doesn't manage to, and breaks below it. So that usually kind of a nice level as well to look for. And as you can see, none of these highs in here reacted from it. So that's actually quite of a nice place in there to look for. But yeah, for now, maybe just above this level, react from here, have some reaction, and yeah, after that we'll see. So it's basically we are a few pips away from that, basically a few, around 30-40 pips away from that level. I like the compression as well. It's another one that has been quite bullish. Again, strong momentum to the upside. So eventually it's going to need to have some kind of retracement in here, and that's going to be the trade. I'm not looking, and it's something important to be aware of. Like, I'm not looking for price to just crash in there. Like, I'm just looking for something, for some initial reaction at this point with some PI on a lower time frame, but some initial reaction. And that reaction eventually, if price does actually then breaks a major low, then can start being created as a higher time frame PI to look for the trade. But at this point, I'm just looking for that initial reaction in here. So that's definitely something that I'll pay attention to already starting tomorrow in here. Dollar franc Swiss, that's been just in the range. It filled the space as well. So we mentioned that these lows were not actually the best. It just filled all the way towards that demand. Breaking below that demand then means that price wants to go basically there, but it respected it, and we are stuck within this range, right? Basically, we are stuck within this level. The reversal in there, it happened quite nicely. It was with some kind of a CPI in Switzerland, I think, that originated that big spike, then NFP, and there you go. Like, I was actually looking for price to go slightly higher. My level was a bit more in here. That's where I wanted this size to go towards to look for a push down. It just paused in there. With that, it kind of had the PA, but yeah, it was not still looking for price to go slightly higher. So yeah, not really much to talk about dollar franc Swiss. If the dollar wants to continue to move lower, maybe this one can eventually continue to be a bit more bearish. We missed the supply level and eventually can go a bit more close to the downside. Again, personally, I don't think these lows are the final destination. I think still that price wants to go lower, and I do like this level. I already liked it. That's where I was looking actually for the reversal. It was somewhere in there, but now that didn't happen in the moment. But now we do have this structure in here, these lows in here to be faked out. Maybe some kind of reaction first until eventually we can go into that demand zone. So that's definitely my favorite level at this point on the dollar franc Swiss for a potential good trade, at least for a long. For a short, at this point, waiting to see how price may react from here, and then eventually a little bit more to the upside. And then moving on, we go into the commodities, right? So gold, great move again. So we broke the highs. That was something that we were looking for, and eventually to fill this price. So that happened, and we broke the highs. We retraced, pick out slightly low. That's okay. Typical trend continuation setup in the bigger picture, and then eventually broke to the upside. So we had that initial reaction from here. Price went down, and then it moved higher. On the weekly time frame, it's a really good level. Daily. Yeah, on the daily time frame, it's a really good supply level where price reacted from in there. We do have also this left shoulder. We fake out that level. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Something important is that price actually respected quite nicely with the lows as well. So we never really managed to break below this low, which means that at this point, we are still in this bullish momentum. Okay, we didn't have any break below it. If you had broken this low, that would be a little bit of a shift, and from there maybe could look for that. So at this point, it's still a bit more bullish than anything else on gold on the bigger picture in here. So we could have maybe retracement from there, respecting a little bit this double top and then pushing a little bit lower. We'll see what's going to happen, but being aware of this is important on gold at this point in here. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. In here, good reaction from that initial supply. We do have maybe another levels in there also to pay attention to. But at this point, good initial reaction. And I'm still looking for price to actually fake out this level. So we can even go a little bit more to the... Yeah, I actually like that level. I can even fake out slightly this level and push a little bit more down. We fake out that low. Reacted from this level in there. Okay. But yeah. This was actually a little bit more of what I'm looking for, and I'm going to continue to look for that, to be honest, in here. So that's gold. It's overall bigger picture still quite bullish, but we can have some reaction first, and then oil. Oil actually it was perfect. This week it was actually perfect. It predicted perfectly the level. So it was in here basically when we started the week. We mentioned with the guys that to pay attention to this high already. So this high in here was already a sign that maybe price was or had the intention to start turning. And we also mentioned that there was literally all this price in here to pay attention to. Okay, so that was the initial move. It was either Monday or Tuesday in here that price reacted and it started turning, breaking a little bit, reacting from that level, push to the upside. So after that it breaks new high, so it started to literally open the door to fill all this compression, and there you go, it filled the compression. In here it was unfortunate because I was actually looking for price to get slightly higher into here. Okay, fake out that high, but a little bit more to the upside, and price basically just retested that high. That's where I was looking for potential this initial reaction, and then eventually I was even looking for price to go a bit more to the upside. So yeah, the move in here it was done, reached the target, so basically the end of this compression and initial reaction from here as well. So now it's a bit more indecision to see what's going to happen. Now it's in the middle, but that initial reaction from there and from there, that played out really nicely. Something else to pay attention to in this situation is that, for example, on oil, okay, in here, price actually respected this low. However, in Brent, that's a different story, okay, because actually price broke this low. So this is just in terms of correlation, just something to be aware of. In this situation, we actually have an engulf to downside in here. So that's actually an engulf to downside, which means that maybe price actually wants to eventually push even lower. And that can also, of course, play out the same in here on crude oil. So that's something to be aware of. And then something else also is that price is respected from this level. If we're looking for the end of compression here, maybe price would go slightly higher, maybe until that level. But okay, it reacted from the supply level. It is what it is. But in the bigger picture, just be aware of this one, that price actually broke below in there. So we'll see what's going to happen. Now it's in the middle. So now it's again, wait and see. Wait and see to see what kind of opportunities we are going to have. And that's basically it. That's it for this weekly analysis. I don't know if you are still there. Thanks, Miguel. Basically, we are half an hour away from the final, which is something that I'm going to watch now. We'll see if Spain or England are going to win it. Everyone is crazy in here in the UK about it. I do think Spain are the favorites. Yeah, I'm just sad that Portugal is not playing the final, to be honest. Unfortunately. Yeah, and as I mentioned, starting tomorrow, I'm going to start going live at 7:30 p.m. I'm going to again share the link. So 7:30 p.m. is basically just to do a quick analysis of what I'm looking for the day ahead. A+ setups, that's going to be the only thing that I'm going to focus. So A+ setups, I'm not going to be analyzing every single asset. I'm just going to be more focused on the ones that I think they will provide the best opportunities for the next day. For example, today it will be maybe this Euro CAD, Pound CAD, a bit more in detail to see what I would like to see. So those are two that I'm going to be looking for tomorrow, of course, depending on how price opens. Gold a little bit, and the indices as well. I think they're quite interesting with the fake out of the highs. The end pairs now, I'm not touching them. Euro dollar and pound dollar, they're getting quite extensive as well to the upside. So that's going to be something that I'll be following as well, to see if there's some kind of weakness to be seen as we approach this level. Okay, and the pound as well, somewhere in there, and then eventually euro pound. So those are basically a little bit of the pairs that I have on my radar starting for tomorrow and beginning of this week in here. So yeah, again, thank you guys. Subscribe if you are new. Just subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot. And I have a few videos that I'm going to be sharing as well. I'm going to be releasing. I'm going to be more active now. One of the first ones is going to be was a question from one of the guys in the server asking to the specific setup how to trade double tops. I have that video. It took me a while to kind of eventually revisit it for YouTube. That video actually is already more than a month ago. And then I'm going to continue to do more videos. How to trade all-time highs, the 4 zones that I usually look for. I'll separate a trend in 4 zones and then move from there. If you have any specific video topic that you would like me to cover, feel free to recommend. I'm going to start doing more of that and sharing more on YouTube as well. All right, so see you guys. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, end of Sunday evening. And yeah, if you're going to watch the game, yeah, let's see who's going to win. All right, thank you. Bye bye. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.